So just to quickly to introduce about our organization, this program is brought to you by the Shiv Nadar University and Policy Times. Shiv Nadar University is one of India's leading research-based global university. It is founded by one of India's most successful and famous technocrat, Shiv Nadar, the owner of the HCL group, which Professor Chatterjee will brief during his note, and subsequently our colleagues from the university, and the Policy Times. Policy Times is one of India's credible and reputed media, which is promoting development journalism. So, development, bringing development is our agenda. So, when we did research, what is the foundation of development? We found that we need to bring positive contribution in three core areas: education, healthcare, and entrepreneurship. So we have been designing programs through which we can contribute in the sector of education, healthcare, and entrepreneurship. In the education, we are contributing in three ways. We are trying to develop cross-border education exchange. We are trying to be a platform where the whole world or India and different world or continent or countries can collaborate, can come together, discuss education challenges, education opportunities, and collaboration opportunities. The second is school university connect. 80% of the cases of school dropout, school or college dropout happens because the students do not get enough a kind of guidance as to how his education is linked with his income. Because the people in poor and emerging countries, the major question is about their sustenance. When the question is on their sustenance, they don't find an immediate link between income and the education they pursue. Because education takes always a longer time for a career perspective. So that is why we are trying to connect schools with universities so that the bridge can be fulfilled and a bridge can be developed, and we can bring skill education at the school level through universities. The third is school education, education industry connect. So industry is the end destination for education aspirants and education products. So how do we build a bridge between these two is what we all do. The objective of organizing this program, I first of all want to thank you all for this wonderful webinar that we have on our Indo-Africa Education Exchange. The idea, we want to develop a bridge between India and Africa. We want to understand the challenges that Africa is facing post-COVID, what and how India can contribute, and how do we, so one is building bridge within Africa and building bridge between Africa and India. So Africa, the world can criticize it, but can't ignore it. 1.3 billion population, most and biggest attractive point is it has one of the biggest lands in the entire world, also rich with natural resources, but the biggest advantage is more than half of the population is still young, and the average median age is around 20 years. Where the world average is 30, Africa's average age is 20, which means it has. So now the point is, what is the most important resource for a nation or a continent? It is the human resource. Now, if Africa can nurture its resources and the human resource through a flourishing, positive, futuristic education system, it can do wonder for the world. How do we do it is all about what we are going to discuss today. First speaker of the session that we have, and from our co-organizer, Professor Dr. Partha Chatterjee, who is Dean International Relations and also heads the Department of Economics, Shiv Nadar University. I want to request Professor to kindly deliver the keynote remarks. You have to unmute, sir.
Thank you. That's our digital life, right? Mute, unmute. That's how we are living our life in this year that has been marked by COVID. And I'm really, really thankful, Akram, that I'm getting a chance to talk to such a eminent set of people from Africa. And, the relationship between India and Africa goes long and deep. And I really don't need to talk much about that. Uh, there are, I'll start with a personal story actually. One thing that really binds us all, I suppose, is Bollywood. And, I did my PhD from University of Minnesota in US, right? And I was there, and there were some uh, Somalians around. I met them, I started talking to them. And no, you know what? What really connects us immediately was these people started singing songs from Bollywood movies, right? So you see, I mean, it's not only that it goes long and deep, but it continues in variety of spheres, in variety of ways. Mm, so I really don't want to talk much about that part, but I'll start with something that Akram brought up right on, which is the young population that's there in Africa and in India. India too has a very young population, slightly older than Africa as a whole. Africa, of course, we keep saying Africa, but as we all know, it's a continent. It's much more diverse than practically any part of the world. But nevertheless, I suppose we'll continue just referring to Africa as a whole. Uh, so one of the things that really, really, I think is important for both Africa and India is how we educate this set of young people. Because as an economist, I have studied what makes countries rich, what makes countries get to that level where people have a comfortable life, right? And if you look at it, there are not too many countries across the globe that has gone through that barrier. To begin with, it was the only Western Europe and then US, and of course Australia as kind of a colony of the British to a certain extent. But later on, this experience was kind of, transmitted to a certain extent in Asia, right? Asia, in some sense, was able to break through. And when I talk about Asia, it's mostly Japan. Post World War II, Japan did that. Then it was followed by East Asia, small countries like Hong Kong and Singapore and Taiwan. And then it gradually moved, and South Korea. South Korea has done brilliantly, right? And then it is more now about China and so on, right? What some of the things that really help them? One is technology, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But a big part of, even for the technology part of it, right? The big part of that played a role was education. And education, why? Because even if you are manufacturing, even if you are doing, a part of a global supply chain in some sense, you need certain skill levels, which is beyond just the minimum skill levels that we can gather without going to college, right? So college has become, in some sense, essential. College has become, in some sense, the passport to uh, individual path to glory of sorts, but also a nation's path to get out of poverty, get out of low income status to middle income and to higher income. But many countries actually fail because there's something called a middle income trap. And that's exactly why we need to think about this education now, when the countries, India as well as Africa, has a lot of young population. And in India, what's happening right now is very, very interesting and exciting. Over the last decade or so, there's a lot of change that is afoot in this education sector. India was, at some point, actually among the countries that was at the frontier, right? But in some sense, it lost out, partly because we did not invest enough in education. We did not think about innovating the education sector. But over the last 10 years, a set of new universities have come up, and something like Shiv University, which is a philanthropic university. And my colleague Harshita, who's by the way joining from Dhaka, Bangladesh, it's a global world. global, we are all global citizens now living in different parts of the country, but being able to join together in this forum. She will talk about the university more, and I'll not get into details of that. But a lot of new things are happening, a lot of new exciting things are happening. In particular, like a university like Shiv Nadar University, what is trying to do is bridge that gap that has developed in terms of bringing research and teaching together in building a broad-based multidisciplinary education, right? And we have therefore engineering, we have sciences, we have natural sciences, we have humanities, we have social sciences, subjects like economics and finance, and so on. The whole idea is to empower these young people, and not by taking a shortcut, not by trying to train, just for a job or something like that. Job is important, don't get me wrong, job, but much more important is building a career. And that's where we focus on, that how can we build careers for people and get them to a level where they are leaders in whatever they choose to do. And that's happening not only in Shiv Nadar University, but in a bunch of universities around the country. And I think the gap that existed, and I myself had to go out of India, right, to do my PhD in Minnesota. And then I was a professor in National University of Singapore for a while. It's obviously the best university in Asia. And then I came back to India to see what I can do, what I can contribute to ensure that our young people in Africa, in India, in Asia, all of it, because that's where the mass is right now. Not in Western Europe, not in America, not there, right? How can we, really push the boundary of the education sector? And these kind of innovations, now we have, it's almost a decade that Shiv Nadar University has existed. And I think we are very, very confident and comfortable that we now can reach out to further corners of the world and ensure that that new education that we have set up, and the way that we have bridged the gap between the leading universities and us, because at the end of the day, we want to be among the best in the world. Right now, we have been chosen, by the way, as one of the 10 private universities, which is an institute of eminence. The government has chosen 10 private universities and called them Institute of Eminences. Two hasn't even started actually. So basically one of the 8, and we are the youngest of the lot. And that just gives us, uh, makes us proud, but also gives us the confidence that we can actually educate the young generation of ours to ensure that they prosper and the nation prospers, and the whole global and the whole world kind of moves along with them, because education is critical. Education is at the heart of it. So when we go forward and think about India and Africa together, I think education will play a critical role. That how we can connect. It's the charm of education is it connects people to people. When someone is in my class, when I'm teaching, I don't see which nation that person is from. It's a person to person connect, right? When I'm uh, interacting with a student, that's a connection that lives forever and ever. And I think that even from a perspective of connecting nations is very, very important, that we build this people to people connect. And I will not take much more time. I know there are a lot of speakers here, and I'm very eager to listen, and maybe at the end we can have some time where we can discuss. We can then have a conversation between us, right? And I'll then stop and let Akram take over and carry
Thank
on.
you. Thank you so much, Professor Chatterjee. Wonderful to have you and listen to your perspective. Objective of all of us connecting, being connected here, is to find a synergy between us, between Africa, within Africa, also between Africa and India. Now, when we talk about synergy, the first thing I want to emphasize, post COVID, COVID is just not any natural activity. We need to understand. It is the World War III. Just like in a world war, the entire world is in disruption and a new order take place exactly post COVID. Our sector, whether it is education, whether it is industry, whether it is entrepreneurship, anything and everything is going to take a complete tectonic shift, and we are into a complete new world. In this new world, your digital competence is the key. So what I want to emphasize here in this to all my African brothers is that and sisters, your digital competence will decide how far you are going to leverage with your basic skills or skill sets you have developed. What we need to do right now, we need to connect entire Africa digitally. If we don't, if we fail again, that means we will be again backward than the other world, because the other world has already, it is already connected, and they are taking the leverage in terms of profiting from it. Now the challenge before us, you are lucky lot of the entire African continent that you are connected digitally. We have to invest in our digital infrastructure more than our physical infrastructure. Today we don't need big buildings, to prove you have a beautiful campus. We need bigger digital architecture for your education institution to prove and show that your children are connected to the world. The benefit is very simple. You are global. The moment you are digitally connected, you are global. Coming down to the point, once we are digitally connected, we are talking building synergy. When we talk about building synergy, then the first point is we need to understand our challenges and opportunities, what we have in Africa, in India. Once we identify the challenges, we also identify the solutions. When we identify the solution, we also see how India or other part of the world is doing. What are the best practices that we can adopt right now? Because what America has done 20 years before, India is doing it now, or maybe Africa will do it tomorrow. But this big gap can easily be, matched with the help of technology. So we have to adapt technology to the fullest. The last point that I want to say, that we need to learn from each other. And if we do so, first we are connected and then we need to learn. This program is the bridge to develop that platform, that we learn from each other, we understand each other, and we design an action agenda. So to talk on that, I want to invite our next speaker, Mr. Prince AVK Adu Bofor. I really seek your forgiveness. Is GES Esase Bontefufo Senior High Technical School, and he is the senior counselor there and head of IT department. Mr. Prince, over to you. I request you to kindly share your view. 5 minutes would be wonderful in bullet points if you can talk. Though I take more than that often.
Okay, thank you very much, Akram. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, you are loud and clear, Prince.
Okay, so thank you very much, Akram, for this opportunity. As you said, I'm the head of IT at the secondary school and also the school counselor for the school. In effect, I help students in making career choices as they come to school and also teach IT as well. So over the years, I've been in the service for a decade now, and the challenges that we come across as we teach. One is technology, as you've made mention of. As an IT teacher, having been posted to the school, I was confronted with an issue of no network connectivity. Imagine an IT teacher going to a school to teach and then there's no network. You can't even make calls. You can imagine. So for close to about 7 years, I was in the doldrum of trying to find a way of making sure that I'll be able to teach my students to understand the concept of IT. But then the government has also done its part in trying to help the schools to also come up to speed with technology. And then it has also come to play during the COVID-19 period, between last year, where a lot of the schools had to let the students go home, and there was a great learning loss for the students. Imagine having to stay in the house for close to a year without studying. The students, their psychology and all those things. So they're coming back to school. It meant a whole lot for us as counseling psychologists to reorient their minds as students to come to grips with whatever they have lost. And as we are saying, technology is the brain which is going to guide us in the next phase of our educational endeavor. So for us to be able to come up to speed with the advanced countries, we need to invest so much in our technological infrastructure. Now, the problems that we encounter, as you've mentioned, one has to do with poverty, people not having money to pay for the educational expenditure, teachers also not being available to teach. No, there are a whole lot of schools in our countries where we don't have teachers to teach, not to even talk about qualified teachers. So it means that a lot of our students are lagging behind. And if we're able to leverage on technology, we'll be able to have all these students to also come up to speed with what is happening in the system now. The other issue too has to do with students' attendance to school and their completion rates. You know, students are admitted into schools, but as to the point where they'll be able to stay in school for the whole period and then complete at a point and exit is also a key factor. For instance, we have, if I'll use my institution as an example, if in a year we bring students to come to first year for, let's say for instance, about 300 students being posted to the school to come to begin their studies, that is from Form 1, that is the first year, and they are supposed to complete in the third year. We realize that along the way, some of them fizzle out. They are unable to complete. And the issue has to do with them not being able to sustain themselves in school, as in being able to pay for their expenditure. Even though now the government is offering free education for these students, the government virtually pays everything. The government pays for their books, pays for their school uniforms and their tuition. But then the little monies that they have to get to also stay in school so that they will be able to take care of their daily life and activity is also lacking. So you realize that most of them will come but fizzle out along the way. So that is also another challenge that we have in our schools. And so if we are talking about creating a synergy between all of us to be able to make sure that we leverage on our strengths and weaknesses, I believe that we need to take a critical look at our investment in our schools. More so, putting much prominence on technology. Because as an IT teacher, what I wish is that I will have my students be able to learn all the technological innovations that are coming on board so that they'll be competitive in the future. If I am unable to teach my students this and they complete, it means that they have been left out. They can simply not compete. And in this, our dispensation now, a lot of companies or institutions are hiring based on our skill sets. So if you don't have the needed and required skill sets, it means that you can't compete and you'll be left off. And I don't think that that is what we want in our world now. And so for us to bridge this gap, we need to collaborate a lot on finding ways by which we'll be able to bring on board practical solutions, cheap and practical solutions, which would help our students to be able to acquire digital devices that can help them to also participate in whatever we are doing in terms of technological advancement. One thing I also say is that it will be my wish if we'll be able to brainstorm and look at ways by which we can help push our policymakers to change some of the ideas that they have. Because now in our country, there's this policy that students are not allowed to use digital devices in schools. So if we are talking about advancing technology and helping these students to be able to participate fully in our digital world, it means that we need to have a paradigm shift in ideas, in changing this kind of notion where we don't want the students to bring digital devices to our schools. Yeah. It has its pros and cons, all those.
If you can conclude your speech in 30 seconds.
Yes, so I'm concluding. Thank you very much. I'm concluding. So if we want our students to, as it were, participate, we need to change this mindset. We know that the bringing digital devices to school has its pros and cons, but we should look at the positive side. If we'll be able to give them devices that can be controlled from our ends, I believe the students will be much better with this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful couple of points. Investment in technology is going to define, which I was also emphasizing on. Cheap means affordable and practical solutions. We don't always need very expensive and high-end Western solutions. We can bring practical, affordable solutions for our local problems. I think these are 2 points I got. There were a lot of other discussions. I want to go to our next speaker, Mr. Takud Wanashe, one of the leading speakers and advocate and a global voice on sustainable development goals from Zimbabwe. May I request you, Mr. Takus, to kindly share your views?
Thank you very much, Mr. Akram, and I'm also humbled to be at this platform from the Policy Times, and it's very amazing, also paying tribute to the previous speakers after them. And also greetings from Zimbabwe. It's a lovely country, and we love Asia, we love India, and Africa. So getting to my speech, I think it is very important to know that a lot of issues come into context when we are talking of development. We never talk of development without mentioning education. Therefore, as a sustainable development goals advocate and focusing on all these 17 goals, sustainable development goal number 4 is the one which talks severely about quality education. And when you talk of quality education, we're talking of inclusivity, we are talking of diversity, and we are talking of investment through education. So it is very important to know that we can never achieve development if we remove the education. I will start by talking on the bad side of education and how it has affected most of the African countries. The most rampant things that have devoured the development of education in Africa. We can never escape issues to do with the civil wars across Africa. We talk of the Central African Republic, we talk of Chad, we talk of many countries in the Central Republic, DRC, all those countries have been affected, especially when it comes to issues to do with civil war. We talk of the issues to do with the natural disasters, that is inclusive of hunger. We talk of famines and all those issues are a huge problem when it comes to the achievement of quality education in Africa. We also talk of issues to do with infrastructural development. A lot of infrastructure concerning our schools is almost dilapidated, and no basics when it comes to working the education system. We talk of the curriculums. As much as we are trying to diversify as Africans, the most important is for us to develop. We need to make sure that our education sector suits the criteria of our own people. And I'm so humbled by the presentation which was spoken earlier, whereby saying you don't have to be in the United States of America or you don't have to be in Europe for you to achieve a education system. It begins with us as Africa, and through the stages, we've tried to make sure that we can come up with a very, very educational system across the whole world and the globe as a whole. We should think act to start. We should be the ones who move forth ahead and develop our system as Africans. So we are very humbled by a narrative, and also the most important thing is that in order for us to achieve the quality education agenda, we have to move forward with the set targets of SDG number 4, which talks much about quality education and how it needs to be inclusive, it has to be reliable, and it has to be to everyone across Africa and the Asian countries, so that we realize the dream of Africans being included in such a wonderful phenomenon. So all those issues are very important when it comes to the attainment of quality education. And in my last sentiments, I would like to say that Africa and Asia, they have a huge role to play in terms of achieving the quality education mantra within our strategies. So we need to make sure that our curriculums are conducive to the African system. We need to make sure that advocacy towards education is improved. We need to know that the media also has a huge role to play when it comes to the educational fraternity of the African systems. We should make sure that education sticks to its principles. We divide ourselves from political ethos and other things that do not seek to develop the African educational system. So I believe those are the most important issues we can look forward to as far as bridging the gap between India and Africa is concerned. The level of globalization in technology has taken its toll. Therefore, we need to make sure that as much as we're in the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a huge need for us to be involved in technology and try to improve each and every sphere of technology concerning our livelihoods in Africa, in India, so that we can at least gain something from the technology we are having in our own countries. And that can only be sustainable if we make sure that we stick forth to it and we achieve sustainable development goals, especially SDG 4.
Exactly. So yes, you have been the advocate for SDG 4, that is quality education, and you very nicely pointed out inclusive, reliable education system. And you focused on quality education as you are part of it. Teachers should take a front seat in building solutions for the society. So that is what you also emphasized, partially, indirectly, because most of the time in the developing world, teachers are not on the front seat. I give a small example. We did a small study about the world's best education systems like Japan, South Korea, Germany, and Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Denmark, Finland. The best thing about them, and the couple of common features are that the teachers are extremely highly paid profession. So teachers are highly paid in that country. So, pay of the teacher also decides the kind of respect, recognition that we have. So we also have to push, how do we increase the best? The second thing is, the common factor of their education success is they have always imbibed the national culture and values in their education system. So that's most important thing that we also need to remember and ensure that we have the natural, cultural, and socio values that we have should be also inculcated in the system. We have to think beyond politics. Politics, like education, is above everything. Unless we educate our society, unless we develop the world-class education system, we cannot build world-class nation. Our nation cannot be world-class. And the role of media, he emphasized. That is also a very nice point. The media should play an active role in terms of giving this. The other point I will share a little later. May I request Professor Chatterjee if you want to share any observation about the speakers who have spoken so far? Yeah.
I'm listening very carefully, and one thing that I would mention is this inclusiveness is very, very important, because without that, we cannot build a sustainable system, be it in education or anywhere else. And we have to think about how we can actually include a large number of people, because what's happening right now particularly if you look at the West, that most people are priced out of education. Education has become so expensive that it is almost impossible to carry on with education without a high amount of loan or being rich, right? So that is something that we really have to work on. In India, we are doing a few things. At Shiv University in particular, we have a lot of scholarships available, but also our fees are very, very low compared to practically everywhere else, because we are funded by a huge philanthropy. And therefore, we do not necessarily rely on that much. And that is why we are doing this, because we understand that education has this transformative power, and we can do that only through being inclusive, right? And I think that's something that we sometimes forget. We keep talking about quality, we keep talking about other aspects of education, but inclusion is also a very, very important aspect.
Thank you. May I now request to our next speaker, Lady Diana. Lady Diana Abu is the founder of Save Our Future Ghana. So, ma'am, if you can come in camera and share your views, perspective. So, Lady Diana is also working in the sector of education to the underprivileged. Lady Diana, are you there? I think she's there, but Lady Diana, if you are not there, so we will move to our next speaker. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to move on to Victoria Sebu, a teacher researcher at University of Kinshasa from Democratic Republic of Congo. Victoria Sebu, can you come in camera and if you can also come in camera, so you are unmuted.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Yes, please. Please go on.
Yeah. I'm Victor Seguri from Democratic Republic of Congo, research at University of Kinshasa. Yeah. It is an honor for me, but so of just learning. But in my country, just a few students had to continue their education by connecting to the internet. The current university didn't know allow this practice. The problem was at the level of experience, considering that for the first time it had happened to study online for the students, and even the teacher to give online lessons, making sure the lesson were understood was difficult. But the most problem is for the governmental. Uh, we know that it is internationally recognized that there is a link between education and development of a country. However, in Africa, it is recently that governments have started to take notice of raising the education system. To say that it is rare in Africa where education is considered at a higher level of urgence for the development of countries. The field of education is often overlooked in terms funding and resources available for its growth. So my proposal for Indian cooperation in education with Africa, the first is to set up a framework for the exchange of experience between students from difficult countries and also teachers among themselves for exchange of culture and some transmission style of education. It will say, I will tell that we know that Indians have good reputation styles. For example, in my teaching area of computer science, if in this relationship we build an excellent exchange of this kind, it will help most Congolese or Africans to think another way of teaching. The second proposal is to facilitate researchers to continue their masters or their researches in India or in Africa. In my conclusion, I would just say that we can take the best element in each education system practice participating in this cooperation so that each country improves its education system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor Segu. It was wonderful. You really outlined three important points, which I partially could get and could not. One is making a framework, strategic framework for exchange of digital content. So that's a very nice point. So we will be very happy to do that. This is where I want to share. The secret of India's success are two. If that success can be copied there, yeah, Mr. Sebu, you are now in video. We should have been happier having your video when you spoke. So, one of the secrets of India's massive success, despite COVID crisis, India did partially and considerably well in education, is because India allowed digitech companies, edutech companies to flourish in India in a very complete unstructured manner, though. But because of the entrepreneurship, a lot of edutech companies came in. While the government made some of the brilliant online or digital content for the education sector, the private sector penetrated till the rural areas to provide education. However, there remains many challenges and criticism, but they have done tremendous work. Same benefit can also be given to Africa in terms of leveraging it for the African children. Because once we are digital, we are not coming out of it. So it is going to stay there for long. Yeah, Alex is coming now. I want to move on to Lady Diana. Are you there? So the next speaker, if Lady Diana is not there, so who do we have the next speaker?
Well, I see her name.
I go to Patience. Yeah, Patience Kofi. Patience Kofi, are you there? If you can unmute yourself and share your view. But please come in camera.
Hello, everyone.
Little 30 seconds and then on the subject.
Please, I'm Patience Kofi from Ghana. I'm at the package care education sector. A little challenge we face here is like our speaker spoke about it earlier. It's like the education system is kind of expensive. So there are most parents, they wish they can take their kids to school, but because of financial problems and things. So this is what I do at our end. I don't really have any financial support from anywhere, but the little I do is I help them pay some of the fees. So most of the kids are able to come. And then I think if with this platform we can help the less privileged so that at least they will be able to go to school, because you can find out that our brother was talking about inclusivity. Like you see some kids, they are very brilliant, but the aid to go to school is not there. So my little speech is that if through this we can help each other so that we can help those little ones also to be able to go to school. Thank you.
Thank you. Noted your point. Yes, a large section of our society is underprivileged, and we need to build a system. Here also, again, I want to share this point. I don't know if we can practically implement that in Africa. Yeah, Lady Diana, I'm coming to you now. Is that one of the greatest advantages that India got? India in the last 20 years developed some global companies, organizations, global business houses who contribute tremendously economically. Then under the corporate social responsibility, a large amount of money which under the constitution, India made it mandatory that 2% of the profit should be contributed in some social work, socio-economic activity. That large amount or large part of that money has also been motivated to invest in the education sector, which contributed tremendously also in India. So if something of that sort can also be explored in Africa, would be wonderful. So a lot of foreign companies are present there. If a part of their profit can be shared in the development of the country, it would be great. Okay. Now, Professor Chatterjee, if you want to share any point in between, please feel free to come anytime. I want to move on to our next speaker, Lady Diana. Lady Diana is, we were missing her, is a founder of Save Our Future Ghana. So Lady Diana, over to you. Please unmute yourself. You have to unmute, Lady Diana. Yeah, please go.
Okay, so I'm saying that I didn't hear your question well. So if you can come up again, your line was not clear. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go on.
Yes, I'm saying that I did not hear your question well. So if you can come up again. The
Okay.
line was not clear.
Basically, I want to request you to kindly share your views that how is the education system functioning there? What kind of synergy can we develop within Africa and with India?
Um, as it what the children, like how I was saying, that we went to house evangelism, doing evangelism, looking for the children that were of school going age, but were not going to school. So we're talking to the parents that this is what we do. We want the children to go to school. So I want to take your child
Yeah.
and then bring your child to the children. So we want to educate the children, and it's free of charge. You don't pay anything. And then we have some of the children that are even orphans. With them, they also don't pay anything, but we provide them with the educational facilities. That's what we do. So as my other colleague was saying, if we get support with these things, you don't get support from anywhere. You don't get sponsorship from anywhere. But I know that if we get other support or sponsorship, we can go far with it. Like Save Our Future Ghana, we have from crèche to JHS. And we intend to do the senior high school and even open a university so that the orphans and the less privileged will also have the right to education. That is what we're doing. So I think when we also get, like we come together and then we get some sponsorship and other stuff, it will help the children to do well. They will get what they want. They can get, we can impact more life. Because I was talking to some of the children yesterday, and when I asked them of their future career, somebody wanted to become a World Health Organization doctor to work with a World Health Organization. So I said, wow. So the person has a dream. So a child like that, if the child gets a little bit of support, the child can go far. But if there is no support, I'm doing it alone. It will get to a time I cannot help again. I'll be stuck. Sustainability. If I cannot sustain it, I'll be fed up with it. But if we get a little bit of support, because during Christmas section, we organize Christmas party for the children every 25th December. And we go to the villages to share clothes, shoes, and other stuff to support the less privileged, the orphans, so that they can enjoy Christmas. So when we get a little bit of help, a little bit of support, it will help us do the work better. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your view and perspective. Yes, support word again being repeated. Maybe Professor Chaudhary also, Professor Chatterjee mentioned about the scholarship, and yeah, we will talk on that. I shared about CSR concept. I'll come back again on that. May I now move to the next speaker? Simon mentioned. Simon Peter is Simon mentioned, right? So if I'm not wrong. Frankie's school. If you can kindly introduce yourself, this is Simon, and share your perspective. I hope your audio is better now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you. It's an opportunity.
I really get worried about your internet connection and voice. Sometimes I get a little excited, but then the connection should be all right to continue. Yeah, please go on.
Okay. All right. I think this is an opportunity for we all to build each other. We don't really get opportunity like this, and we wouldn't even meet ourselves like this if not for this platform. And one thing that I've realized is that even though this COVID era has caused much damage to our system, it has also opened a platform for us to socialize and think much more about the future. Because, in let me say in Ghana here, purposely in Africa, when this COVID-19 came up, I realized that most of even the facilitators in our schools were having problems in using ICT tools to even teach their children. not even to talk about this virtual classes and stuff. Some of them do not even know how to go about it. And I was like, so if it wasn't for this COVID era, how would we even know that we are falling short or we are falling back? It looks like everything was well until this came up. So I think one of the things that we have to build on as India and then Ghana is to work much more on the IT side or the IT sector of our education, because we are not desiring that what today's facilitators are going through, the next generation to come will also go through the same thing. And I believe that this meeting is not really for us per se, but it is for us to create a beautiful future for India and for Africa as a whole. So, as we all know that we are not actually educating these children. We are not only informing them, but we also want to transform their lives. We want to change things. We want to bring the best out of them. We want to build our countries. We want to build our nations. We want to develop things in India and here in Africa. But then the question is, how can we develop our country if our children or the upcoming leaders of tomorrow, when we are not there, what are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What is it that they want to do to help build these nations? You see, we have dreams, but then we don't have enough time. Some of us are growing, and I think we are doing this thing basically to impact some things into both of us, our lives, in order to give dreams and perceptions to these children that are coming up. And one thing I want to say is that as we are all planning to build up the people as tools and equipment to build our nations, you see, the focus is on nation building, to have a good nation, to have a developed nation. But then how can these things come to pass? How can we bring this, our dreams, to realities? We can bring these things to realities by training up these children, because they are our hope. We don't have any hope. Today we see that they that are grown already are actually doing things that does not really bring up what we want to. That is why we come together as people like this to join our ideas, so that the mistakes that probably the people ahead of us are making, the young ones that are coming, will not make that same mistakes. Because most of us, we should have been far, our nation should have gone far. But we realize that it is because of some minor things that the leaderships or the people who went ahead of us could not do. And I think if we want to build our people, if we want to come together to build our children in education-wise, then the main focus should be on how do we create a mindset or perception in them. How do we create a mindset or perception in them? How do we groom them? How do we grow them? The things we know today, we don't have to wait for them to grow and get to our stage before they know them. Most of the things we were not informed or we didn't know earlier. That is why sometimes it looks like most of the countries are falling back. If they had known some things earlier, we realize that we would have gotten to somewhere. And I think if we want to come together as from India and Africa or Ghana as a whole, if we want to come together, then our main motive and our perception is that we have to find measures to build in each other. And I believe that this shouldn't be just a one day thing that we would do as a team, a one day thing that we would do as a family, but it should be something that we'll be doing persistently, because day in and day out things change, day in and day out things develop. Probably maybe after this meeting tomorrow, one of us may have an idea that can transform the education of India or Africa. But then if this meeting only ends here, we don't know how it will be. But I believe that we will all look forward to bring up projects also and programs. We should have the chance to have programs, Indian-based programs and African-based programs, or maybe some programs that are done in India that are actually boosting their education level should be introduced also in our system here. And then we'll also check and make emphasis on the education programs or projects that we are doing here in Africa, which we think will also benefit India. We should also introduce it into their system.
Yeah, thank you. I think your audio is gone off, and this was my fear only. Okay, so we can't get you back, I think soon. Right. Summarizing your point, wonderful. Actually, one of the most inspirational speech I have heard from on education from African speaker. IT investment, as you again highlighted, understand the dreams and aspiration of our children. That was a very nice point actually, and they are the only hope. So we don't need to educate our children just because it is our job, because that is the future of our nation. If we really fail to educate our children, we are losing on our hope. So if we take this as a passion instead of a profession, while we take it a professionally, we take our passion professionally, will make us successful. With point I will emphasize a little later. I requested, yeah, our next speaker is Mrs. Isatu Zama Conte from the Leone International Academy, School Administrator, Freetown, Sierra Leone. Madam Nisatu, over to you. If you can unmute yourself, please. After that, I'll go to 2 4. Yes, ma'am, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, so I may just want to bring what happened during the COVID-19 era when it started, and how we approached our how we approached the issue, because it was very, very difficult. At first, we are like lost. What are we going to do with our students? But then what we did was to call a meeting of the parents, so they come, we explain to them what the issues are, what it will mean for the students if they will just leave them home without, engaging them. So we called the meeting, and then we realized how important the need is for us to have even phones, even to provide this phone that I'm using. Is to even have parents cannot have a phone, then how would you, try to bring this harmonized thing that we are using, where we can teach, where a teacher can come to the school, teach, so that the students will have all of what they want, will get the education from the school. So it was very, very difficult. So what we did, what are very strenuous issues, was to have the teachers the curriculum, topic by topic, provide learning material, wherein the parents will come on a weekly basis to come and pick the learning materials to the students. And then after a week, they collect them. So what we did was to have
Yeah, I think your
after
internet
a
is off.
week, they collect them. So why am I saying out of the little we have? Cumbersome. Pardon, is my time up?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go on, ma'am.
Yeah, I brought this just to show how cumbersome it was for the entire process. So it means this idea of having this IT facility is very, very important. And we know we are having the constraint in our country, wherein few is available to only few and not to all. So the affordability of this IT material is a big, huge, huge issue, which we will all want to look into in having this collaboration between India and Africa.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
It's nice for us to gadgets that provide affordable gadgets, so that it will be of use to even those in the interior. I think that's my take on the whole issue. I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. I got the point. One point I got because of the connectivity issues. Affordable global resources, education resources is what you emphasized. So we need to make education resources available to our. Also, I'd be extremely grateful. What the points that you were sharing, if you can also type them down in the chat box, we can collect that and make a nice report out of it. So who the speakers, if I can just type down in the chat box and in the everyone format, if you can share your points in bullet point of whatever you are speaking, I'll be really grateful and honored. Now, Mr. Simon could not finish his statement. May I request Simon to just say, I think what you wanted to conclude at?
Okay, thank you. I believe you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
So let me just say this briefly. Is I really apologize to all of you. It's my network, so I'm sorry.
It's,
Yeah.
please.
So it's so I was saying earlier on, we really have to do much projects and programs, and you know, I really have to say this. It's so embarrassing, and you know, this is actually my first time having a Zoom meeting like this. This is actually my first time having a Zoom meeting, and you understand how it feels like. It looks like something like new and something like, okay, well, like seriously, wow. You see, and this is not how the system ought to be done. And then as we are also saying about this IT, you know, in Ghana here, it's not really allowed or permitted for the young ones to even use this equipment in school based on the harm that it will cause them. But then if we only focus on the disadvantages on IT or technology, if we only focus on the disadvantage, you will see that they will fall back because no matter how it is, it is already there. So we have to open the eyes of these young ones. We have to enlighten them more on this IT because I actually started using even a smartphone when I actually completed high school at the age of 19 to 20 years. And that was when I actually started using iPhone and smartphones. And there are so many things that I didn't even know how to use, just minor and little things. Today, Americans do not have interest for these things. African parents, most people do not have interest on these things based on how they were brought up. So they will not even know why I should even try to educate my ward or my child on IT or on technology. But then where we've gotten now, we've realized how important and crucial this is. If you are growing up with or becoming an IT illiterate, you see how it can harm us. But if this policy, this India and Africa as a whole, we can come up with, we should just put away this negative thoughts and bring in this positive thing that, okay, after all, there are negative things there, but then how can this thing help our future? How can this thing help tomorrow? Today, without IT, I can't even sit here and be speaking to Mr. Akram. There's no way I can even meet you to talk to you like this. But then, because of IT, because of technology, you are where you are, I'm here, but then we are communicating. So I think
Absolutely.
one of the best channel for India and Africa to merge and to come up and to grow our education system is to.
Thank you. There are two things I want to promise to you. From now on, I invite you to all African panel discussions that we are going to do. You are most welcome and share your view. The second thing is we want to reach out to every African educator and every African children and to want to connect them digitally so that we bridge the gap that exists between us through the digital or by leveraging our digital technology. I will not extend this further. I will like to invite two of our Indian speakers who are here. I also see Kamakshi Joli ma'am here, so I would also request her to share views later. I want to invite another education entrepreneur whom I met recently, but very close, and he came out to be very close in the circle. Muhammad Jahiruddin. He is the chairman of a very innovative college, Bangalore Animation College. Animation is a field that is emerging as a profitable sector. So I want to request Mr. Jahiruddin also to share his experience post COVID, the kind of challenges he faced, and the how did he come out of it, and then what kind of relation or synergy we can build between India and Africa.
Thank you very much. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Please go on.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, you are audible enough.
Yeah. So actually, I would, and first of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Akram, that giving me that opportunity. And this is I'm feeling a privilege to talk in this way, where like this kind of eminent people are there, and I'm very pleased to hear all the discussions what the things is going on, and the discussions is about the education and the systems, what the things we are running and how the things is going on. As we discussed, like in the situations of COVID, it's obviously, as you tell, like it's another world war. So after these situations, it's like we have gone through by a lot of challenges. Still, we are facing those challenges, and but there is there is a lot of negative things where we have faced a lot of problems. We have suffered a lot for providing educations towards the generations, but we have promised to give them the things because of this gap of communications happened for this time for COVID. Mainly for our courses, that is like a animations program where it's a totally program which is on practical base. So whenever we are going to teach anything in our students, it's very much essential to teach them practically. But the thing is that in situations when the gap has created, so we face a lot of problems to make them teach in like the communication, how it is going on by digitally. So there is a gap to make them teach these things. But I can tell you one thing: this has given us another kind of experience also, that how by the way of the digitally we can teach them, and we have invented a lot of ways that how these practical kind of trainings also we can provide them by digitally. And now there is a lot of ways has came out to us to make them share the way how we can teach them even 100% practical classes also in the digital platform. So that's a very eminent education's patterns we have created. We have experienced that, and that's a very positive and plus points for us to share with the students and their parents, to make them understand that how the students can take at even 100% practical classes also through digitally. And another thing is that obviously we have gone through a lot of troubles and problems for these COVID situations. But now the situations is coming slowly in previous positions, like we are coming back to the pavilion. So here we all what the problems faced. From there we have got a lot of experience that how to make education in global way. It is not like that before COVID we don't have the medium to make the educations or other communications in digital platform. It was there, but as there was like this is not mandatory, so we was not that much essential feelings that educations how can be provided in digitally. But now as the situations is came and we understood that there is no any other options without to make a communications in educations by online. So we have invented lot of process, lot of communications by which we have provided educations, and we made our students educated. We have provided our informations, even all the guidelines of universities and protocols, everything we've made, and fantastically all these programs have been solved by digital platform. And another things which I want to tell you, like this is a very wonderful discussions which is going on, and I'm really feeling very much great and privileged to attend this kind of program. And again, I want to thank you, Mr. Akram, to give me the opportunity to talk in this program. And just one thing at the end, I want to talk about what are the things we have feel like we have a very bigger thoughts about Africa and their culture, and there are a lot of natural resources and their education patterns. Because when we provide educations, we have met with a lot of moderator from like African countries and other Lord regions countries. So we have a very bright ideas and thoughts about their culture, about their education patterns and policies. And as the discussion is going on, so I am also getting a lot of other informations. and there is a really great privilege for me to understand and go through all these things. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, Mohammed Jairuddin, for sharing your perspectives, and wonderful to have you. I now want to request uh, my colleague in one way and senior manager of the Office of International Partnership, Shiv Nadar University, Ms. Harshita Tripathi, to also share a few things that the Shiv Nadar University has taken up and some of its achievements, so that we can become the. I'll be extremely happy if Shiv Nadar University becomes the bridge between India and Africa to connect and contribute. Yeah, over to Harshita.
Thank you, Akram, and good afternoon, all, and good evening from Dhaka. Currently, I am located in Dhaka. I came here for a small visit. Otherwise, my place of work is India, New Delhi. Professor Chatterjee initially mentioned few things about Shiv Nadar University, and I've prepared a couple of slides which I would like to share with you all. So take this as a reference about Shiv Nadar University. I'll share more details in the chat box about the website, the email IDs, and other things. But let me for now pull up the screen. It's visible, Akram, right?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. So here's a university which is going to complete 10 years, a decade now in 2021. We were established in 2011. It's a pretty young university which has achieved much in the past 10 years. As Professor Chatterjee said, we are the youngest to get the Institution of Eminence recognition. Currently, we are offering courses in undergraduate, postgraduate, doctoral programs, and a lot of professional programs under management schools. In fact, we have 5 schools here, which is a School of Natural Sciences, Social Sciences, or rather humanities, School of Engineering, School of Management Studies. And it's a huge campus, which is located in a beautiful place closer to the capital city of India, which is New Delhi, and also still away from the hustle bustle of the city. So you're easily connected to the city, but you also have a quiet place when you want to study and do academic research. This is a research intensive university. We focus a lot on the research components of our students. And currently we have approx 2200 students. This is an old data from previous year. Right now the number is 2200 plus students. We don't intend to be a huge university in terms of number, but we want quality students to get access to education, and that's why we are focusing on getting quality students on campus. In fact, I have had opportunity to interact with a few students from Africa where I was teaching them conversational Hindi language earlier, and trust me when I say this, they are really bright kids. The way they picked up completely new language compared to other students in the class was really quick. So I completely agree with the panel and the group over here who said that these are bright minds who dream and want to dream a lot, and they probably need someone to show them the direction. Coming back to the presentation, we currently have 195 faculty members, and we have really good student to faculty ratio. For every 10 to 9 students on campus, we have 1 faculty member, and that is just to dedicate and encourage the conversation between faculty and students. As I said, the campus is located in Delhi NCR region. NCR, by the way, is National Capital Region. So areas closer to the New Delhi city capital itself. It's 286 acres campus. It's completely safe campus for students, and we consider safety as one of the biggest, measures. So we ensure safety for all students. It's a fully residential campus. This is something which our office is working very closely with, which is international collaborations. So far, the number have increased from 18 to 21. We currently have 21 international partners, different institutes and universities across the world, with which and with whom we rather engage in different kinds of agreements and exchanges, whether it's for faculty benefits, research, or students' benefit. While the whole COVID and the pandemic thing started, virtual way was the only mean to communicate, and we took initiatives to connect with esteemed people across the world in different parts of their areas in research of studies. These are some snapshots from the events which we did last year in 2020. We were really proud to host people from different parts of the world in their area of specialization and get inspired from their work. Now, this is something which we want to have, rather offer every student who come to study at Shiv Nadar University. They have multiple opportunities in terms of global engagements. We don't want to limit themselves just to a particular territory or country. Every student at SNU will have an option to go either for summer abroad, semester abroad, research abroad, or even the students right now who are in African region or African countries, they can come here for short-term programs, internships, or research programs. In fact, if I talk about something which is going to be done very recently, right now we are in Feb end or March later. So in summer 2021, which is rather going to be in July and August, we are going to welcome students for short-term academic programs. We're going to welcome them for summer internships, industrial visits, and a cultural immersive program, which is curated specially for international students who want to experience India and know more about the Indian education. These are our contact details. I'll also leave all of these links in the chat box. So feel free to contact us. We'll also reach out to you. We'll have your contact details with us. But I hope you got a little bit of sense of what Shiv Nadar University is trying to do in the education sector. Thank you, Akram.
Thank you, Harshita. Wonderful.
To add to what Harshita has said, and she's done brilliantly talking about Shiv Nadar University, we are doing a lot of innovation in terms of what we are trying to do in education sector. The kind of courses that we offer, the programs are very solid, academically solid. Yet, the way we conduct all our courses, as you have seen already, the number of students are low compared to faculty member. So there's a lot of interaction that happens. We also take research very, very seriously. So research is very at the heart of what we do, including teaching. Teaching and research cannot be separated because we want our kids, our students, and everyone to understand what innovation means and how to push the boundaries. It's not only about being a follower, but being a leader, right? So research is that. And what we have managed to do is we have managed to get a set of faculty members who are among the best globally and who have been trained and studied across the globe in some of the best universities in the world. And they have all come together here to start something very new and to, again, show a path to the whole education sector in India, right? So that's what we are trying to do, make an impact in several ways. And we would love to have more students from Africa in any ways possible. Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your perspective. We have two, three speakers, so we'll finish and then we'll go into a panel discussion. May I request now Mr. Derek Offery, Blue Crystal School, Ghana, to kindly share your views. Yeah, Mr. Offery.
Thank you.
Can you share your views?
Yeah. Okay. The points I want to give is that one, improve resources for teachers and learners. Computer-assisted learning will inevitably improve education in developing countries and enhance their experience for both teachers and learners. The computer should have age-appropriate materials and software and a technically educated staff that will know what to do and how to maintain them. And then this would improve education in developing countries and will encourage student enrollment, and most especially ensure that the children stay in school and learn more while they are there. Also, educating parents will also improve education in developing countries. A parent's investment in education is crucial for the success of their children. However, most of our parents are, illiterate and do not have the awareness to improve both their living conditions and those of their children. Providing parents with information on the value of education will be crucial in increasing and maintaining school enrollment. And then finally, I also want to add that the education system in Ghana is well known for maintaining the ignorant practice of marginalizing children, especially disabled children, from getting an education. Children who are girls, disabled, of ethnic minority, or lower class are consistently neglected by the education system. We should be able to call on parents, teachers, concerned leaders, government officials, and the wider Ghanaian society to reevaluate deep-rooted misguiding ideas. We should be able to perpetuate the belief that all children can learn and have the right to learn and learn differently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think with this, we have any other speaker, Rashid, we have who would like to share first, because I am not able to remember or recognize the names.
Yeah. We have some speakers. We have some speakers still online.
Yeah.
Aruna Kone.
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Aruna Kone.
Sorry, I forgot to invite Mr. Christian Nubude. Mr. Christian Nubude, now your audio was not connected there. Then Mr. Christian is the facilitator at NUT Endwell Modern Science School, Ghana. Yeah, Mr. Christian, over to you. Please go on. Yes, this was where I was afraid your audio is not connected. Yeah. Please switch off the video and just keep the audio so that we can hear you. Just switch off the video. I am switching it off. Please speak so that we can hear you. Please go on. We can, but your audio. Yes, please go on. Please go on. We will try. Yeah. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. We can't.
Fights between countries, especially India and Africa.
Can you remove your headphone and speak? Can you please, Mr. Christian, can you remove your headphone and speak?
Okay.
Yes. Please go on.
All right, you can hear me now, even.
And I think you can also.
Okay. Now, like I said.
You're clear now.
Yeah. Please go on. Yeah, please, Mr. Christian, please speak. No, your audio is not.
On mute, Christian.
Okay.
Mic is on?
Yeah, your mic is on. You have to switch off the video.
No.
Otherwise, we can't hear you. Please go on now. Unmute yourself, but switch off the video so that the voice quality is at least better. Else, we move on to our next speaker. You please try. We will come back to you. So, Rashid, do you have any speaker?
Yeah, we can go to SB Kamara. Yeah, he's the vice principal. SB, are you there?
Yeah, Mr. SB Kamara, may we request you? Oh, your audio is also, you're not audible.
Hello?
Yes, please go on.
You get me now?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we can hear and see you. Yeah.
Well, I'm not getting you. Hello?
Yes, we can hear and see you. Please go on.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for having me. I consider this all a pleasure for me to be part of this meeting. And I've had speakers and I've heard so many people talking about the educational system in different countries as they are. By way of introduction, my name is Mr. S.B. Kamara, a vice principal at SLIMS. And as I said earlier, it's a pleasure. Now, but there are a few things I picked on previous speakers, and I want to make some comments. I want to make an addendum. First of all, a speaker spoke about mind change. Mind change. And I want to confess that this is my first time, my very first time of being part of a Zoom meeting like this. And it explains a whole lot about how our IT system in our country looks like. Right. And having a relationship with India, and of course, in the strata, we know that India is up.
Yeah, please go on. I think there was an issue.
Maybe his connectivity. He may be struggling with his connectivity.
Right. He also said that this is the first time in his life that he's digitally.
Yeah, he's making Zoom call.
Right, that's pretty surprising. And really, I mean, we have to do a lot of work because we have to.
Yeah, really. Akram will have a lot to do.
I mean, this is giving a lot of inspiration to me that, how.
Hello?
Yes, please go on, Mr. Kamara.
Yes, sorry. Forgive our network, please.
Please.
And yes. And a speaker was talking about mind change. I think one of the problems we are having, especially in Africa, is with our curriculum design. I've been saying this in different platforms. Our curriculum needs to be designed in such a way that it is IT focused. 80% of our universities here in Sierra Leone, I must say, they only catered for what I'm still struggling to understand. Because if, for example, if you are saying that somebody has read, for instance, electrical engineering, that person must be able to measure up in that particular discipline. If you are saying you are catering for people who are reading mechanics, they must be able to measure in that particular discipline. But our curriculum is so vague that it is not focused. I must say, sorry for what I'm saying. I just want to be honest here. Because if you go to one of our big universities here in Sierra Leone, you will not understand that at this 21st century, people are still reading Greek history, Roman history. What has that got to do with the trend of things as it is now? Right. So first of all, the first thing we need to do is for us to see how best we can influence our curriculum, how it can be assessed, how it can be reformed to that of an information technology. And secondly, all of these flaws were picked up, especially during this COVID-19 era. As I speak, there was a time when a teacher in my school took a computer in class, and all of the students, they stood amazed. Wow, for us to see this in class in the 21st century. So the importance of IT cannot be overemphasized at all. It is but necessary for us to have an educational system where we see IT as a focused thing, as a focused course, as a focused discipline in all areas. Even, are you getting me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, even if it means for it to become a compulsory subject, because I'm still thinking, why should English language be a compulsory subject? If you don't have English language, you don't go to the universities. If you don't have mathematics, you don't go to universities. If we the curriculum designers, those who have stakeholders, everybody, if they can come together and see reason for IT to be compulsory, then you begin to see that you are making a headway. So this is my take. As I'm saying, as old as I am, as matured as I am, so this is my first time of having a Zoom meeting. And the world, they've gone far beyond this point. They've gone far beyond this point. So having a synergy with India, I think it is, I consider this all to be a blessing for us to have a partner, for us to have this relationship and see how best we can incorporate, how best we can bring in information and technology into our school system. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
You have doubled
Yes.
my motivation after Mr. Simon Peter, when he also said that this was his first book, which means that the responsibility for Rashid has gone up. So now Rashid will have to organize many more such meetings so that we reach out to the last mile educator as well as student to connect not only in Zoom, but also to provide the highest quality education and policy advocacy that is possible. So thank you. Do we have any more, Rashid? So Rashid heads
Hello.
up.
Yes, yeah, we have. Yeah, there is another person
on
this call. Mr. Aruna Kone, are you there?
Yeah, I am there, my brother.
Okay, then this is your time.
A quick intro, 30 seconds, and please share your views.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really glad to be part of this program because just like what my brother was saying, really it is our first time of having such a forum. We are in this kind of platform we are partaking. Really, as Sierra Leone, the problem we are facing is the same problem any African country is facing, more regarding this ICT. Because the ICT in Sierra Leone, we are not taking it very seriously. My brother, I can confess to that, just like what my brother was saying, that our curriculum designer are not really thinking of those things that it should be incorporated in our educational system. But it's rather unfortunate. It is only now we are thinking of. Imagine if we are in school, our children, we even forbid them not to take a mobile phone in the classroom, neither in school. So these are some of the things that we are facing, except we have to raise awareness raising campaign that those things should be used by students and they should learn the ICT. Because most of the secondary school in Sierra Leone, believe you me, 90% of the secondary schools are not ICT facility. It's not available there. So if ever such a forum is there, more especially India is coming in Africa, we as Sierra Leone, we appreciate it, really. But these are some of the things we really lack. Like our curriculum that was mentioned by SB Kamara, that is really in place. Because if somebody is, they are teaching us computer, but when I was in university, I never touched computer, only when I left university, when I managed to get one. But even as that, I cannot proud of it that I'm computer literate. So I'm very glad to be part of this forum. It has created a room for me to learn computer more, let alone to introduce in our various school system with the help of our stakeholder. But really, we appreciate such a program. So that is my take anyway. But we are struggling in Sierra Leone as far as the ICT is concerned. So we hope Indian will come in to really help in that direction.
Yes, it is our inauguration, and thank you. We are connected now. We will take this forward ahead together. So, Rashid, do we have?
Yeah, maybe we can give some time to Christian because he was having a problem with his connectivity.
Oh, yes,
Christian.
he's back. Mr.
Yeah,
Krishna.
Christian, if your network is strong now, maybe you can come back.
All right. So can you hear me already?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All right. First of all, I count this a privilege to be part of this meeting. It is honestly a privilege. And my contribution I'll take in this is that e-learning is most important, very, very important and paramount in our society, as it is in this 21st century. I count myself lucky to also work in a school where I can beat my chest and say that yes, we are actually inclined to an extent. Challenges that may be faced include gadgets for this ICT, running of ICT programs. And in that case, it means that those that may not be able to afford these gadgets may be left out. Well, my school also have done it, made it much easier that we have computer that we're able to use in teaching in school, and although in Nigeria we have this challenge more, very few of us had the opportunity of making use of computer, and we saw this during the COVID-19 pandemic that fell on almost, in fact, virtually all the countries in Africa, and it was our only savior was this e-learning opportunity that helped us out. So, partnering with China will definitely help in improving learning, and also the curriculum. It's not somebody has talked about the curriculum, and I'm trying to back the person up also, or support the person. Talking about our curriculum, it is not a straightforward curriculum. It doesn't actually pick what the society needs at a particular point in time, because if you look at the curriculum, it's talking about what has happened past. It's not actually picking what the present situation demands. Because let me say, it's not trying to solve the present situation, but rather looking at what has happened in the past, and instead of trying to create solution to present problems, it is almost dormant. When we're looking at the curriculum, in interacting with both China and trying to make this curriculum, we can make ways of improving it. And definitely, if this is done, I believe that we will make a headway, certainly. Definitely make a headway. And it is also very important that all our learners be ICT inclined, make provision for gadgets. Although the challenge is that they are not allowed to take it into their classrooms for sake of distractions of all kinds. I am sure that this also applies to every other country. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, please. It's a little noise.
Okay, all right. So this applying to every other country that they can't be allowed to take in their phones. But aside the phone, if they can be allowed to take in the laptops, those that do have, can come alongside with it. And the teacher also should be IT inclined. Definitely has to be IT inclined, so that you take the lead in the class instead of being distracted by the student while all of this is carried on. So I appreciate this initiative, and I hope to participate as long as this will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Christian. Wonderful to hear again from you. While the challenges remain same, we need to find solutions. And I think you have found a solution very nicely, how China is also trying to help. With this, I think all speakers have spoken.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I now request. I now request Professor Chatterjee to share a few words here. Then we open for any comment or any points. So open discussion.
You know, it's a great experience to be here, to listen, understand where you're coming from, how things are. Of course, challenges, we talked a lot about challenges, right? I mean, particularly IT infrastructure, ability to connect. And we are headed towards a world where these are going to be very, very important, right? I mean, it's going to be as important as access to water or something like that. And therefore, we definitely need to work on that. We do need to also work on understanding, how to push these boundaries, not only about IT, but also in several things, right? We cannot just keep waiting for things to happen, but we'll have to figure out how we can do. So this platform, we can share ideas, that's for sure. We can also think about how to increase mobility between countries, because learning also happens between countries if people move between countries. In particular, we can think about how students can, be exchanged, and students can come and study in different countries. Our students can go there, be with you. Your students can come. We can, of course, get students to study in our programs. Because one of the things, and that I learned also from my personal experience, is the kind of learning that you have when you travel is just amazing, right? And that is something that we need to think about, right? And that, I think, we, through this forum, we can see if we can facilitate. That will be also very, very nice, because that will give a very sharp rise in what we can achieve. And I would say that, Akram, let's work on this, that we create a platform where we not only, keep on having this dialogue, because it's very important to have this dialogue. Today is just the beginning. I am, of course, thrilled to say that all of you are here today, and also, in some sense, learn that many of you are doing it for the first time. So that's fantastic. So let's carry this on. We can definitely do that, but also think about how we can create a bridge in terms of enabling mobility, right? So that is also something that we can think about. Yeah.
Exactly. So the digital mobility we can start off with.
Digital mobility is definitely easier, but well, when I say easier, we already see the challenges, right? I mean, it's not necessarily that easier, right? So sometimes maybe, even just movement of people is, because also what happens is when you actually move people, you understand the cultural context, you get people to know each other better. So we need to also work on that part. Yeah.
So we'll be extremely happy to organize this series across a long time. Maybe we are planning to organize this kind of discussions for next 5 months.
Hello?
Yeah. So now we are open. Anyone who would like to share anything, you are feel free to share your views, perspective. Kamakshi Jolie ma'am, if you can also come, we have a very senior principal from India, from one of Delhi's government schools. Kamakshi ma'am, would you like to say a few words? Share anything?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Everybody is saying that they are coming to India, learning Hindi, living in our campuses. Why don't we, like China, invest in education in Africa, like in East Africa, or Nairobi or Dar es Salaam, or like in West Africa, in Nigeria or Ghana? Why don't we have campuses of such eminent universities like Shiv Nadar University, or your university, or any other university for that matter? I see people in Faridabad live, people from Africa as well as Central Asia and other parts living in hostels and campuses, on and off campuses, and learning here. Why don't you guys, we have got so much investment in education, so why don't you have a branch campus in one of these beautiful cities, and you can provide them education there and then? That is what China is doing, and it's our soft power. Why don't we exercise it?
Thank you, ma'am.
That was all.
Why don't you and me share
Thank you so
some
much.
money and go to Africa and open one? So
I had a chacha, my chacha. He lived and taught mathematics in Africa, near Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And I had an uncle. He lived in Zambia for 25 years. He was an architect with DDA, and then he opted for Zambia. So in my case, I mean, there was no offer. Otherwise, I would have loved to go. My subject being geography, I don't know. They don't open the offers anymore. But I would love to go and see Serengeti and all those beautiful places, Victoria Lake and all those. I mean, you know, being a geography person, I would love to go there anytime.
Parthu sir, you putting your leg on the shoes of Shiv Nadar sir. If you would
Look, I mean, a few things. One is, it's not a competition between India and China. I mean, let's not think about that, right? I mean, we all need development. We all need improvement in conditions across the board in all kinds of parameters that we can think of. Definitely education, right? And individually, we can contribute as much as we can. Whether some universities want to open campuses there and all that, those are complex decisions. For us, for example, we are a very new university and we don't intend to open campuses anywhere else. Our university is there at a very nice place with 280 acres, and we want to bring the world there, right? And of course, we ourselves can travel individually and so on. But you know, that's not the plan as of now, at least. And definitely, you know, we can contribute in and invest ourselves in education, and that investment, the primary investment is probably time, right? I mean, that's the biggest investment that we can think of, and we can definitely connect, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, help each other by connecting and doing this kind of forums.
The first step is taken. The first step, and then we lead to the thing. Yeah, the floor is open. Anyone would like to say? Maybe Mr. Prince is waiting, and Mr. Takut is also raised his hand. So yeah, please open to. The floor is open now.
I also wish.
Yeah. Yeah. Christian, you want to share, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Prince, please go on. You first.
Okay. So one of our speakers spoke about understanding the dreams and aspirations of our learners. And then as a counseling psychologist and a school counselor, having worked with students concerning their careers and all that for almost 10 years.
Hello, can I go on?
I believe that,
I
believe that we, hello?
Yeah, please go on, Mr. Prince.
Okay, so I believe that we need to put in place proper and structured guidance and counseling services in our schools, because most of the times, as our brother Simon said, we don't have a way of pushing our students and guiding them in the right path. So most of them end up studying courses and programs that they are not fit for. So at the end of the day, they complete school and then they are unable to continue. But if we're able to put up structures in line with their guidance and counseling in the schools, we'll be able to make sure that we guide these students as to their career path. And that is going to help them a lot in their studies. If you don't do that, and we just leave them and then it's everybody come on board, let's just teach them and all that, gradually we'll get to a point where we wouldn't have the students fitting in any job that we want them to do. Because if somebody is not fulfilled and he lands in a job, the person wouldn't be able to do the job as we want him or her to do. But if the person understands and loves the job, the person can stay in and then give off his or her best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Kamara, Mr. Takut.
Yes. Can I come in?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. We learned a lot from this synergy, and what I've actually loved is the fact that as Africa and India, we can actually come with one thing that can have a diverse approach towards the development of our nations, and it can also enhance a more sustainable approach towards education, because education enhances both parties. It's a win-win situation, and we have to make sure that our curriculums suit the standards of our people. And also, it is very important to know that when it comes to creating sustainability, it has to make sure that everyone involved in it benefits from it. So education is a pivotal and a key role towards the development and achievement of sustainable development within every nation. And I would like to thank also the contributions from all the diverse personalities we have here. And I would also want us to make sure that this kind of energy or webinars are continuous and they become gradual. They shouldn't be just a one-time event, but we can always benefit from them each and every time, hearing from the grassroots, because what we want is the understanding of grassroots education. How is it happening deep in communities? Because as I said earlier, that our infrastructures are different. You had others that were complaining about the internet and stuff. So definitely it's also the same case when it comes to the schools we have here in Africa. And also maybe it is a matter of trying to understand what's really happening from the bottom of our countries before we even take it to the highest level. So education advocacy is very important. We advocate for it, we much more awareness and monitoring how much we have gone as a continent, and then we make sure that we create another encounter between ourselves so that we can, let's say, we have managed to get something worth it out of our synergies.
Thank you. Parthu sir, I want to invite Isatu ma'am also, because Isatu ma'am is there. She's now in the car, but she's still listening to our discussion very patiently and eagerly. So I'll be very happy. Yeah, Parthu sir, because you have to take it.
I'm sorry, I'll have to leave. So I wanted to just thank you all for being here today and sharing such wonderful perspectives. And I couldn't agree more that we need to continue all of these conversations, and this one-off thing will not lead to anything. So we definitely need to see how we can keep being connected. We'll figure out a way to do that, of course, through the dialogues, but also in a much more continuous process, right? And please feel free to get in touch with me or my colleague Harshita or Akram, of course, and with any questions or anything, suggestions or anything of that sort that you have. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the best. Yeah?
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us and sharing your valuable time for this program. Now I will request a couple of speakers, and then I'll request also Harshita to come in. So maybe Isatu ma'am, I want to listen to you. You got to unmute, ma'am. Please unmute yourself. My fingers are crossed. Hear you. Isatu ma'am, can you unmute yourself?
Who is to speak?
Yeah, Christian, I'm coming to you. Mr. Christian, I'm coming to you. I want to hear Isatu ma'am speak some points here. I don't think she can.
It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, please go on. Christian.
Yeah,
okay, she's there.
I am. Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Please go on.
Yes, I am moving right now. I have just left to attend another meeting, which I already told Mr. Rashid about. But what I'm seeing here is that when it comes to Africa, our problem seems to be, the same. And I also see that working together is good. Yeah. This platform is very good. And we're looking forward to see how we can have harmony in all of this, how we can bring our own perspective, with your own perspective, bring it together so that we can have, a common ground to start with. So as far as I'm concerned, I look forward to having more of this and learning more and understanding what this project is all about. So far, that's what I have to say. Thank you so much for having me.
We will be in touch with you for many such opportunities, and we will try to develop a bridge between India and Africa with your help and support. Christian, yeah, now you are most welcome to say anything. Mr. Christian, Mr. Kamara.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you again. Are you getting me? Thank you again for having me.
Okay. Please.
Right. Hello.
Yes, please, Mr. Kamara, go on.
Yes, somebody spoke about guidance and counseling. I was going to make an addition to that one. I think what we need to do is for us to have a robust G&C here, as it is called here in Sierra Leone, guidance and counseling. By so doing, we raise the awareness. Of course, here in Sierra Leone, our kids do not know which career they want to pursue in life until they reach to the university. And by the time they know it, there is no way they can make a choice. So if we can have a G&C, a robust one in school, for them to have this awareness on IT, technology, or whatever the case may be, right? Let's start it from the kindergarten stage. Let's say from the time the child is in nursery here at the kindergarten stage, going to the junior school, going to the senior school, there should have been a reasonable awareness as to where the child may want to pursue his career. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yes. So, hello.
Yes, please go on.
So on that note, I would like us to have the G&C. And secondly, if there is a way we can have a partnership with universities, colleges, or institutions in India, be it online or whatever the case may be, if there is this course that we can have, because somebody spoke about even teachers, they are novice. Some teachers are novice when it comes to introductory technology, right? Some cannot even operate the computer well. So talk less about using it in a sophisticated level. So if we can have a partnership with India universities, we can have courses. You can send us the courses, we do it, and we have the awareness. Awareness can be transferred to the kids, to the staff, and every one of us. So I think on that note, we can influence even those who have the stakeholders,
right,
that IT is very necessary. Because once they begin to see all of us driving attention towards IT, then they will know that we are living in the era. So thank you very much.
The point is taken, and I think we need to reach out to our respective governments with the policy advocacy or advice in terms of we do this. Okay, so enough points taken for today. I think we have crossed just the time, and thank you. I want to really thank you for joining us for this wonderful webinar. This was our first webinar in Africa, with the leaders like you. We promise that we would be extremely happy and grateful to work with you to improve our respective education system. The collaboration is the future. This collaboration and synergy that we develop through this exercise and activity is going to define our life going on. My daughter, like I have heard about EduTech last 2 to 3 years, and my daughter is almost like taking classes online at her early age of 4 to 5. So imagine the kind of their life. Imagine when they reach to our age, where they will be. That is the kind of change and disruption and transition that is going to come. And if Africa does not adapt it, we will be backward. We will be, out of the race or survival or existence, whatever you call it. So we have to move fast. We have to connect with each other. Collaboration is the key. As I said, post-COVID, let us collaborate globally so that Africa and India work together for our mutual progress and growth. So I want to request my colleague Harshita to give the closing comment, and then we'll formally close it.
Thank you, Akram. Again, as I said earlier, it's wonderful to hear people from different parts of the continent speaking and sharing about their experiences. And as it has been rightly said, right now it's not competition but collaboration, which is the key, which is the guiding light, perhaps. In fact, one positive thing which COVID did is that it brought people from different parts of the world together, even though in the virtual world. So that's the blessing in disguise which we had. And I think you're right. There are different ways to collaborate. This is just the beginning that we are meeting virtually. We'll definitely connect in future in different possible ways. Whenever borders open, I would like to welcome each one of you and invite each one of you to our campus. And at the same time, I'm considering that you'll also be very happy to host us. So we'll also visit your places soon whenever borders open.
Very true.
Great. So Mr. Rashid will be in touch with you all, who heads
Yes.
our Africa operation. Rashid takes care of our Africa activities.
So, Akram,
Yeah.
yeah, just a quick one. Before we end the session, I just want to say a big plus to our country coordinators that's really contributed for us to get this meeting a success. Starting from Waters in Ghana, Angela in Nigeria, and say Joe in DRC Congo. Many of them within the Africa continent, they really made this meeting a success. So thank you all guys for
Thank you.
For your great contribution.
Here? I can.
Very, very, very grateful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walter is here. Wonderful to see you, Walter.
Yeah, what is that? So we'll continue. This will not be the end of the meeting. We'll continue. This is just the beginning. We'll have a long way to go. There's not just cross fingers across. We'll keep moving, and by His grace, most of those issues will be really solved. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. So with this, we formally close for today. We will be in